Hi, this is Addison, Kelly, and Daisy. Today we will be discussing the United Flight 3411 and the forceful removal of Dr. David Dow. For context, when this incident was happening in 2017. In 2017, it was a period of major political and social tension in the United States. People were already frustrated with large institutions and ethics, which meant public trust in major companies was already low. Geographically, this occurred at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the country, making this situation highly visible and easy for media to pick up. Social media played a huge role in turning this into a full-blown reputational crisis. What started as a single incident quickly became a global story because of how viral videos and instant public reactions took place. According to public relations principles, this shows how quickly the digital environment can shift stakeholder perception when transparency and empathy are lacking. This situation became a symbol of customer mistreatment and highlighted how powerful public options can be when stakeholders feel an organization has failed its ethical responsibility. The principal players involved. The most central figure was Dr. David Dow. Dr. David Dow is a 69-year-old physician who was forcibly removed and seriously injured from Flight 3411. The public strongly identified with him, which increased emotional engagement and public backlash. United Airlines leadership was also another principal company involved. The main person is CEO Oscar Munoz. From a public relations perspective, leadership actions and messaging are critical in shaping crisis communication and rebuilding stakeholder trust. Chicago aviation security officers who physically removed Dr. David Dow. They escalated the situation from a customer service issue into a serious violation of passenger dignity. Other passengers played an important role as witnesses. They filmed the incident and sharing it on social media. Their videos shaped the public narrative and removed United's control over the messaging. Finally, United and Republic Airways staff were involved because they needed seats for employees, which demonstrates how internal observational priorities conflicted with customer-centered values and damaged the airline's reputation. So what happened? On April 9, 2017, United Express Flight 3411 was fully booked at Chicago O'Hare and scheduled to fly to Louisville. United needed 4 seats for airline employees and asked passengers to volunteer, even increasing compensation offers, but no one accepted. Instead of continuing negotiations, United randomly selected passengers to be removed. One of these passengers selected to be removed was Dr. David Dow. Dr. Dow refused because he had patients to see the next day. This situation could have been handled with de-escalation, but instead, Chicago security officers were called in and forcefully removed him, causing serious injuries. Passengers recorded everything, and the video was spread worldwide instantly. This turned into a routine operational issue into a massive crisis communication failure and a major blow to United's corporate credibility. Although United later apologized, settled with Dr. Dow, and changed company policies, the damage to their reputation has already been done due to the lack of empathy, transparency, and stakeholder-centered decision-making in the initial response.
Hey, it's fine. Come on. Come on.
Can't the pilots drive, Delulu? Can't they rent a car for the pilots and have them drive? No! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! My guys! My God! What are you doing? No! This is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you did to him! Oh my God!
April 10th, 2017, Oscar Munoz, the CEO of United Express, tweeted their first apology for the incident, saying, "This is an upsetting event to all of us here at United. I apologize for having to reaccommodate these customers. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with the authorities and conduct our own detailed review of what happened. We are also reaching out to this passenger to talk directly to him and further address and resolve the situation. However, this apology was criticized for having a lack of empathy and worsened the situation, especially for their wording of reaccommodating." Then a second apology followed on April 11th, 2017, where Munoz expressed disappointment and stated that no one should be treated this way. His exact words were, "The truly horrific event that occurred on this flight has elicited many responses from all of us: outrage, anger, and disappointment. I share all of those sentiments, and one above all, my deepest apologies for what happened. Like you, I continue to be disturbed by what happened on this flight, and I deeply apologize to the customer forcibly removed and to all the customers aboard. No one should ever be mistreated this way. I want you to know that we take full responsibility and will work to make it right. It's never too late to do the right thing. I have committed to our customers and our employees that are going to fix what's broken so this never happens again. This will include a thorough review of crew movement, our policies for income incentivizing volunteers in these situations, how we handle oversold situations, and an examination of how we partner with airport authorities and local law enforcement. We'll communicate the results of our review by April 30th. I promise you we will do better. Sincerely, Oscar." This apology outlines how the airline is committed to doing better in any future incidents and seems more genuine. However, it was still disappointing that a second apology had to be made due to their lack of care in their first apology. So why was PR needed? PR was needed because they needed a crisis management team due to their mistake after a mistake because of their first apology, which worsened the situation because it showed no empathy. Then they also had to build their reputation back up because customers might start choosing a different airline because they're scared that the same thing might happen again. So they needed reassurance, and they were making sure to promise a better way of handling situations in the future. So what publics were targeted and why? The witnesses were targeted because those who witnessed the situation had to be kept as customers, and they had to apologize to them for the situation and promise that that would never happen again. Then the customers and potential customers who saw or heard of the videos that they would not be worried about again this similar situation happening. Then Dr. Dow, he was giving a settlement of 140 million for their mistake.
PR strategies and tactics utilized. So in the middle of all the backlash, United's response was really focuses on the RACE model: research, action, communication, and evaluation. They first analyzed public reaction and media coverage, then moved into action to address the situation. This is where damage control came in. United shifted their tone after the backlash and acknowledged that the incident was mishandled, which was a key step in claiming public outrage. United's activity and campaign efforts included the CEO issuing public apologies, doing media interviews, and apologizing directly to Dr. Dow. This shows accountability and an attempt to rebuild trust. United also focused on transparency and policy reform by announcing new customer policies, ending involuntary removals after boarding, and increasing compensation for passengers who volunteer to give up their seats. Overall, this situation is a clear example of crisis management, which is having a plan for unexpected, disrupted events and working to recover from them. Through these steps, United worked on reputation repair by emphasizing customer care, messaging, and highlighting long-term policy changes to improve their image.
So what aspects were effective and not effective in reaching the organization's potential goals? What was effective was that they followed their policy of not having overbooked flights for safety reasons, which is why they had to take Dr. Dow off the plane. They just handled it the wrong way. Then having the CEO give a second apology, which included an apology for the situation and for their lack of empathy for their first apology. What was ineffective was their race model. So they did not do enough research on their targeted audience when they posted their tweet apologizing the first time. Then they showed no empathy for Dr. Dow and were insensitive for the situation, which was like the action. Then there was no communication with people on the plane and ended up being seen as violent. For the evaluation, it went wrong due to their first post and the CEO not having a formal apology from the start until they saw how bad it was, and there was no accommodation for people on the plane. Then for the crisis management, they did not have a good crisis management team, or it was just not effective. Then their financial repercussions were also not effective because they experienced a decrease in stock value and had to pay Dr. Dow millions of dollars.
Key PR terms and ideas. Corporate social responsibility is the idea that companies have responsibilities not just to make profit, but also treat people ethically, respect human rights, and contribute positively to society. Where it was that United Airlines failed to do so since the public felt the airline prioritized its internal rules and profit over the basic human dignity and customer satisfaction. Spokesperson training. In public relations, spokespersons must know how to communicate clearly, have empathy, and be strategic. United failed to do so, worsening the crisis rather than reducing it, lacking empathy and sounding defensive. Brand reputation management is shaping and protecting how the public perceives a company. United's initial out-of-touch response was seen as a failure of brand reputation management, and it quickly became a textbook example of how not to handle a social media crisis. Trust. The public felt betrayed by United's action and response, questioning whether the airline truly cared about its passengers, creating a large trust deficit, and airlines had to work to repair in the following months and years. If we were managing the crisis involving Dr. David Dow, our approach would focus on strategic communication, immediate accountability, passenger dignity, improving training, and long-term reputation rebuilding. Here is what we would change. Strategic communication. Instead of releasing a short, impersonal tweet, as the initial response, we would prioritize strong human-centered communication. Our CEO would issue a sincere public apology through a recorded video message shared across multiple channels. This video would acknowledge the harm done, accept responsibility without excuses, and clearly outline next steps in order to build trust and show accountability. Immediate compensation. Next, we would act quickly to make things right. We would immediately compensate Dr. Dow for the trauma he experienced, as well as offer compensation to all passengers on flight 3411 who witnessed the event. This demonstrates that we would value and respect our customers, and their well-being is more important than internal procedures or financial considerations. Protect passenger safety and dignity. To prevent this type of incident from ever happening again, we would establish clear rules prioritizing passenger dignity. Law enforcement would never be called for non-safety issues such as overbooking. Once a passenger is seated, we would ensure that they are never forcibly removed. Our policies will shift from operational convenience to customer safety and respect. These changes ensure that the passenger feels safe, respected, and valued whether they fly with us. Evaluate external agencies. We would implement stronger training programs emphasizing de-escalation, empathy, and customer care. Staff must be prepared to manage tension without force or intimidation. And last, rebuilding reputation through ethics. Rebuilding our reputation will require consistent action, not just words. We would restore public trust by demonstrating our company's core ethical values: advocacy, standing up for passengers' rights, honesty, communicating transparently and taking responsibility, expertise, training staff to handle crisis professionally, loyalty, showing genuine care for customers, and fairness, treating every passenger with dignity and respect. By living out these values in our policies and behavior, we would gradually rebuild the trust lost after the incident. Here are our sources. Thank you.